What a beautiful day. Tino, what's up? Sydney Levy. Rebecca, how you doing? Fadzai, my head, how you doing? How's everyone doing today? On time for once, Leader Bay, on time. Well done. This is tea time. Rebecca, how you doing? This is tea time. 21 people watching. T1, what's up? How's everyone doing? Tawanda, how you doing, homie? Guys, what a day in Zimbabwean politics. Zimbabwean politics is getting more interesting by the day. I mean, I'm sad. Why are they fighting? That's a good question, Leader Bay. That's a very good question. What up, Farai? I see you in the Great Britain. How you doing? My Linky, how you doing? Tendai Mugabe, President of Joburg Tea Party in the house. I love you, Mama. How you doing? Doria, how you doing? Everybody, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? Listen. What a day in Zimbabwean politics. Chris James, what up, man? Hey, Kuzi, listen, Muntumatic was a long time ago. Listen, people. We're still mourning the death of Morgan Tsvangirai. But I'd like to get over that for a second. Let those who are mourning, and let's start dissecting some of the things that are happening in the background. Ladies and gentlemen, before Tsvangirai died, we had a show, I think it's episode 3, when we talked in great depth about the chicanery, shenanigans that happened with the MDCT and the 3 vice presidents and all the problems that came. For time, they said, what's the Tea Party secession plan? Well, if I die as a self-imposed dictator, Mud takes over. She's the vice president. It's very clear and cut. So listen. I just read a long message from Thokozani Kupe. Ladies and gentlemen. So we have a very serious problem here, ladies and gentlemen. Because as far as Nelson Chamisa is concerned, he is now the acting president for the next 12 months for the MDCT. Okay? Done. He's taken the reins, ED style. According to Thokozani Kupe, this is just the ambitious mischief of mischievous party comrades who should have waited until the interment and the burial of President Tsvangirai. And she goes on to state painstakingly that she is the only vice president with the mandate of the people to be the vice president of the MDCT. So she's put out this press release. Nombo, how you doing? Vanai, how you doing? Marcie, good to see you today live. Barry, what's up? I see you. So now we have a serious problem, ladies and gentlemen. A serious problem. Carl James, what's up? A serious problem in that we have the best opportunity of our lifetime because Mugabe is gone. Thank you, Vice President Chibengwa. And Morgan Tsvangirai is gone. And these two gentlemen who have been the definers of Zimbabwean politics for many, 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 many years. We have an opportunity for a generational renewal. And unfortunately, because of the problems that the people who were in charge before they left power have left a serious hole in the system, which has led Nelson Chamisa and the National Council to say he is now in charge, and people like Thokozani Kupe saying that none of the real executive at the top endorsed the Chamisa presidency. Now, as the people of Zimbabwe, this is what we have to remember. If Nelson Chamisa is on the ballot box and wins the election, he then becomes the president of Zimbabwe, which gives him a 5-year term. However, he'll be the president of a 5-year term in 6 months' time, who would have to then deal with an elective Congress from his own party, because they've only given him 1 year to be acting president. I don't know if you understand what that means, but it just fucking confused me too. See, because he'll be the acting president of the MDC. He has from today, February, Valentine's Day, February 2, Valentine's February next year, to be the acting president of MDC. If he happens to win the election in June, he'll be the president of Zimbabwe. But then he'll have to, but then February, next year he would have to again be either reallocated or re-voted in by his party to become to stay as president. Otherwise, he basically then effectively gets recalled, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I don't know about you, but I would like a strong NDC candidature who, if we vote them in, they actually can then run a full term and fix the country. I don't want any sort of ambiguity in how long this nigga can actually participate. I don't blame Thokozani Kupe, ladies and gentlemen. I don't blame her, because she has the right to be up in arms. Now, I don't know how much support Thokozani Kupe has. But one thing I do know is that when she went to Congress and put her name up for election in 2014, she won. Another thing I know is that in 2014, when Nelson Chamisa tried to be Secretary General, he lost to Douglas Manzura. While Douglas Manzura, who now is very firmly in the Thokozani Kupe camp. Sandra is saying, but during the match we could have also saying new blood, saying that's why we're supporting Anafadzima here, young blood guys. Exactly. Anyway, let's move forward. I'll address you later, Sandra. So now we're in a situation where Nelson Chamisa has taken the reins due to the National Council, unanimously saying that he has to be the leader for 1 year as an acting president. Not a president, acting president. But he will then effectively be on the ballot box of the alliance, as he is currently the chairman of the alliance, correct? Thokozani Kupe, who was elected by the people in the National Congress for the MDCT, is up in arms. She has now gone to South Africa, and she is the one who's arranging and organizing the body of the late comrade Tsvangirai and bringing him to Zimbabwe for the funeral. Though at Panyanga with the family. So we have a weird situation where the family of the deceased and the Vice President Kupe and Mudzuri are on one side, and we have the young Nelson Chamisa and quite a large amount of youngsters supporting him on the other side. Will Chamisa be allowed at the funeral, for example? Will he be allowed to speak as the president, the new acting president of the MDC? Obed Gutu's online right now, and he's the official chairman for the spokesperson for the MDC, and he is crying foul right now, and he said he's waiting for Tsvangirai to be interred before he makes a big announcement. We're in a really weird situation, ladies and gentlemen, and I don't want to judge it. I don't want to come out too much to judge it, but I wanted you to see that it's a fucking mess. It's a mess. So I'm going to go back and say, a person who has died has become righteous. But let's not forget that the reason why we're in this mess is that the Constitution, ladies and gentlemen, is no longer being followed. As a generation, we've decided that if the Constitution does not go according to our expedient once, if the Constitution does not do the things that we like, we now can circumvent it. You see, I remember the joy on my face the day Robert Mugabe was removed. I still smile till today. I rejoiced the day that the army moved in. And this was ironic, considering that as a person who says I love democracy and I love constitutionalism, I should have been up in arms. But because they were getting rid of a 37-year-old dictator, I was very happy that the Constitution was circumvented at this particular point. See, as a generation, we now treasure expediency over constitutionalism. We don't actually care how constitutional things are if we get the result that we want. Which is why a lot of young people today will say, ED has my vote, I'm willing to give him a chance. Do you niggas know the kind of things ED has done? You know the Shona saying, do you guys understand the kind of things ED has done in his lifetime? Because he was the China, he was the nigga next to this other guy. And everything Robert did at his old senile age, there was a youngster standing next to him, co-signing all that shit. And that nigga was ED. Do you guys understand that? Now we're talking about giving ED a chance. This is where we are now. Everyone who's saying Chamisa, Chamisa, Cheche. People like me, I guess. I don't want to be a hypocrite. I've always said to you guys, I'm a big follower of Nelson Chamisa. I think he was our best opportunity and chance. But I still believe that if Chamisa had taken this to Congress and people had joined the party, Chamisa could have been the president officially without all this bullshit. I still believe it in my heart of hearts that he could have won the mandate without this other chicanery. This chicanery it takes away from a good victory. It takes away from the taste in the mouth of people who say they love democracy and constitutionalism. Problem is this Cheche must fall. Cheche must fall. We have to, as a generation, start to dissect ourselves and our brains and say, why are we so happy with expedient issues going the way we like, even if they go against the Constitution? You see, a lot of us would have been happy if Professor Moyo had been knelt down on the streets of Harare and shot in the back of the head by the army, in an act of cold-blooded murder, as a war crime. If we had seen that on Twitter as a live feed, a lot of us would have shared the video and rejoiced. Why? Because we don't like Professor Moyo because he talked a lot of shit on Twitter. I don't like Professor Moyo. I think he's a real asshole. See, I used to go on his timeline, my blood would boil because this nigga used to wind me up. The things he used to say about Pastor E, the things he used to say about Fadzai, the things he used to say about my generation. This guy used to wind me up. But it's only now when I look at it and say, shit, these niggas actually went and shot the fuck out of his house. And we were really happy. We were really, really happy. Stimu, try not to swear, please. Stimusha, this is the Tea Party, guys. No kumbirao. If you don't like swearing, please go and watch the channels of nicer people. Now, people like Fadzai Mahere, they're nice people. They got morals and they got standards and accountability. I really don't give a fuck. Come on, guys. Don't talk to me about my swearing. You fuck up my frame of thought. I forgot what I was going to say. Anyway, Togozani Kupi was elected. Nelson Chamisa wasn't. He was put in there. I don't know what deal he had with Morgan Tsvangirai, and I don't know why Engineer Mzuri was put there either. Something happened. And then now we have 3 vice presidents. That's a recipe for fucking disaster in this world. We never want to ever put anyone in power who does those kind of things. That kind of chicanery is causing us a lot of problems. And as a generation, we don't want. Anna Manzura, we're not going to let the party go to Congress. Well, Douglas Manzura is actually elected and he beat Nelson Chamisa. I mean, the only person who's beaten Nelson Chamisa in an election is Douglas Manzura. So why are we speaking on his behalf? You see, I'm trying to be righteous here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm trying not to be biased towards the person who I support. You see, I would say Nelson Chamisa is a great guy. He's the guy who looks the best. He's the guy who I believe can take our generation forward. You know, when he was in ICT, he did a lot of great work. And I'm a big fan of Nelson Chamisa. However, what I'm trying to say is that despite me being a fan, I'm trying to take away my cognitive dissonance, put it to the side and say, constitutionally speaking, was the right things done? And I'm kind of beginning to feel in my heart of hearts that this whole fighting for the naka of a man before he's even put in the ground kind of sucks to me. Because Pachivan no gara naka. To all you Shona non-Shona speakers, you know, you can actually, the wife will have to sit there and the younger brothers will have to line up and then she'll have to choose which younger brother she wants to take her as a wife. Correct? Before the niggas even in the ground, niggas should not be fucking his wife. I'm using this as a metaphor, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not actually saying that any of these niggas are fucking his wife, but I'm saying it's as good as. You're guarding the knocker of the nigga before the nigga is even in the ground. His corpse hasn't even been interred yet. And I think that's the kind of shit that I was saying is a bit weird to me. Anyway, let's move on to the next part before I start taking some of your contributions. Should he, Morgan Tsvangirai, be declared a national hero? You know, people like Ndabaningi Stole and James Chikerema were not made national hero. You see, Comrade Chinks was not made a national hero despite the outcry, even amongst people from ZANU-PF. Lloyd says through Kuda Chamisa, of course Kuda Chamisa. So they are extraordinary Congress, magam votera up in that bobo pas nanyaya. Taisa times out I would campaign for him actively and openly. But Mungo to Kambo is that Akira Kazinga Munasata Binam Jerry, Musata Binam ground, Havana his bow. But anyway, let's move on from that. should Morgan Tsvangirai be declared a national hero? And this is a question that everybody has been coming up with. People have been indignant. You know, we must declare him a national hero. He must be put in Heroes Acre. Other people like that Albi Materu say witch. Because Albi Materu actually practices open witchcraft on Facebook. She's a witch. I would have called her other horrible things, but I've decided to be nicer towards these witches. At least they fly with their broomsticks and do tundum seres into my house. People like Albi Materu who say, no, putting Morgan Tsvangirai in Heroes Acre would actually be a terrible thing. Because he'll be being buried with some of the hooligans and thieves and horrible people who were a big part of his persecution. Which is a valid point. You see, does the man want to be buried with his persecutors? So now we're in this weird space as Zimbabweans. Some people say he's a national hero, some people say he isn't. You see, you have to remember that to a lot of Germans, Hitler was a hero. You have to remember to a lot of people, Idi Amin was a hero. Gaddafi is still considered a hero by many. Osama bin Laden still has more t-shirts printed with his face on it than Obama. See, people have got different heroes, left or right. You see, people like Rutendo Benson yesterday said, Tsvangirai is not a national hero. In fact, my brother Benson went on to say that he wants to piss on the grave of Morgan Tsvangirai. See, these are the extremes that we have in Zimbabwe right now. We have extremes. My suggestion, it doesn't matter what we say as people. It doesn't matter. It looks like what we say doesn't matter. But we are actually going to have to take away this right of ZANU-PF being the only people who can declare people national heroes. We cannot allow the Politburo to be the only people who then say they're going to be the ones who choose who is going to be a national hero in this country. You see, I'm on the fence whether the man is a national hero or not. I think he's a hero to many. He absolutely is a hero to many, many, many people. He fought the damn good fight and he's a hero to me. But I know he's not a hero to many. So, what are we going to do as a generation to fix this problem? We cannot say because there's a loud voice and outcry on the internet to make someone a hero, they should then be made a hero. We cannot then put this power in the hands of one Politburo of one political party. That definitely then makes national heroes. Because you booed Grace Mugabe, you're now a national hero. We need to take away some of this energy. We need an actual council of people who are going to be able to judge the national heroes. So we have a fair representation in Heroes Acre. And I implore ZANU-PF to build their own. One that they fund with their own party finances. So they can put all the crooks can sit there together and because when you bury you can all then go to hell together. I would really love ZANU to have their own place where they can say this. And if the National Heroes Acre is theirs, they must just rename it the ZANU-PF Heroes Acre so that we can forget about it and then we can stop funding it with our national taxpayers' money. I would like to see a national independent commission that gives us the option to say, this person died, could they be a hero or not? Because shit, my nigga, to all the people who love the Tea Party, I'm a national fucking hero. But these other motherfuckers may not think so. I'm taking calls now. First person I'm going to add in the order.
My brother.
What up, Marcie? How you doing?
I've been missing the first 3 episodes, so I'm behind.
You're behind. Listen, before we go any further, we have my brother Rutendo Benson on the live feed with us. And I know you had a lot of things to say to him yesterday, so I'm giving you this opportunity to say it now.
You know what? I won't indulge him too much, but what I would say to him is he's a guy who's preached Afrocentric values for many years, and I've followed him, I've argued with him many times. And I respect him for many of the things he says, but on this one aspect, I don't because he's gone against his own principles. If you're going to be Afrocentric, you have to value the Chivanu values that you preach. The Chivanu values say, we don't say such things about the dead. There's language that can be used. You can express an opinion, but there still needs to be respect for families. there needs to be respect for the dead. And on that one aspect is the only thing I want to indulge him on. His other utterances about the reasons why he will piss on his grave, I think it's for those who like to be told facts and don't investigate. He sounds good to those people who want to listen to him because they don't investigate on their own. There were none facts in the issues he presented, but I mean, he pleases the people who want to be told facts. But if he wants to get on a discussion, fact on fact, I think he is mudding the wrong person and is giving power to someone who never had power to influence. And that's it. If he's going to be an Afrocentric ambassador, can he be a man of his word? Stick by those principles and we'll respect him for that. But when he crosses over the line and uses Eurocentric values to discredit, remove dignity from another human being, we have no respect for that. Therefore, his facts become void. So I'll leave it at that.
Thank you for that, my sister. You can leave it at that. Now move on. Today's discussions. You heard what I said. What are your thoughts?
You know what, Kuda? This is a problem of us as a generation, not more so the political aspect. We've never been taught to participate politically. We've never been taught to understand politics. We participated in constructing a constitution that we did not understand its functions. And there are no custodians of the constitution in Zimbabwe. Hence, we see political parties not respecting their own constitution, our government not respecting the constitution that we drafted. On the hero status approach, we as a people, in the drafting of the constitution, we should have determined what constitutes a hero for us, because we cannot go on in our democratic free land declaring heroes based on war credentials. There are people in our democratic country right now who have contributed more so to our well-being than those who fought in the Chimurenga. So are we saying we have not produced heroes since 1980? We need to look at that. We need to look.
Well, I think someone like Peter Ndlovu, for example, if he passed, I would like Peter Ndlovu to be a hero. Oliver Mtukudzi, if he passed, I would like him to be a national hero. I mean, there's a lot of if Thomas Mapfumo passed, I would love him to be declared. I'm not wishing him to pass. I'm just saying that there's a lot of people who inspired me. People like Chonesu Maraire, who was a young woman who played in Mbira and inspired me a lot. My sister died and I was not recognized. I mean, there's a lot of people who I believe are new heroes who are not being recognized.
So unless as a people we seem to just think that pre-1980s when heroes were made, then it means the generation of today has been dead thus far. So we need to look at that aspect. We need to put categories of what we will consider heroes, and then we'll move on. But until then, we did not put in our constitution what constitutes a hero. But on the aspect of the Chamisa family, it shows an ignorance on us as the electorate. We have been busy lobbying, campaigning on behalf of political parties. It is an upside down type of campaigning. The party should campaign and we should support it based on its mandate. At the minute, there is no mandate that we are actually championing. We are championing individuals, which leads me to believe that we are a people who want to be led. Regardless of what we are led to, we just want individuals to lead. Because if we are to ask the people who support Nelson Chamisa what it is exactly that they are championing for, charisma does not take you out of poverty. Charisma does not create revenue for our country to generate the type of money needed to resuscitate our debt economy. Those are not attributes for a person who will lead you out of this quagmire we are in. So we need to revisit who should campaign and what should we support. We can't go on supporting people when they are not campaigning. We have the elections coming up soon. There is more campaign coming from the electorate than is coming from the political candidates who will be on that ballot paper. I have not seen Nelson Chamisa campaign. And we're talking about Thokozani Kupe. Thokozani Kupe is a woman with a PhD. She must know what it takes to campaign. We can't fight that battle on her behalf. If she loses, it is on her head, not ours. But what we must do as Zimbabweans, which I've said before, we cannot carry on resuscitating political parties that have died. We need to now, as a generation, start a political party that represents our ideals, that represents our aspirations as people. And if democracy is something we do not understand, we must invest in learning what democracy should look like, what its functions should be. Because at the minute, Kuda, we are carrying on these debates. None of the participants have said what kind of democracy should constitute the Zimbabwe we want. We have unconstitutional leaders who are taking us to the ballot box unlawfully. We have opposition parties who are muscling in on democracy undemocratically, and yet we do not cease to campaign or not call for an election. As a people, we have a power. This is a democratic country. If the government has not fed us enough credible political armory to go to the elections, we can tell our government, the people of Zimbabwe do not feel these elections are credible, and we can go on the street and demand a new campaigning ground where real credible oppositions with plans, with mandates, with key, it's the same. Emerson Mnangagwa tells you to wait 100 days. 100 days for what if you do not have key performance indicators that you will judge in the 100 days? So what in 100 days are you waiting to evaluate? He never told you the things that he's fixing in the 100 days. How will you know he has achieved? And this is the kind of democracy as young people we are going to the ballot box with. Promises, fakeness, stories. I've said before, in Zimbabwe, we had 37 years of the best speech giver. Have we not had enough of speeches with no outcomes? At what point do we decide no longer will we listen to speeches, but look at the tangible evidence? Are our prospects in life improved? Have our outcomes improved? Is our economy even recovering? But yet we will believe that in 100 days we will have something to evaluate. We are fooling ourselves. We cannot go to an election with unconstitutional, unlawful parties representing our democracy. We must fight for a democratic country. This is the Republic of Zimbabwe with a democratic mandate, supported by the highest order, which is the Constitution. If none of those things are being respected, what are you going to the ballot box to champion? I don't understand.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Sister Marcie, and I thank you for your wisdom. We are now so we don't seem to care what our constitution say as long as we get the results that we think we want, and I think that's a slippery slope. If you allow
what results?
If we allow, for example,
we are getting are names of people.
Yeah, I mean, if we allow, for example, Mugabe to be held at gunpoint to resign, no matter how much we dislike that old fuck, if we allow that to happen, then if that part of the Constitution matters nothing, then our human rights matter nothing, the lives of our children matter nothing, our right to water, safe, nothing else matters if if we're willing to ignore the one just for the sake of expediency.
Real issues must take us to the ballot box. Real issues, healthcare. Who has the best plan to resuscitate? It must be a plan that we can look at the books, add, subtract, multiply, and see if it's feasible. We listened to Chivayo being asked. He was talking of a feasibility study that shows no results on the ground. Yet we got excited about the word feasibility. What was the feasibility of the project working if at present we have zero project on the ground that has taken place? Because as people, we have liked to see reports, We have liked to hear speeches, but we pay no attention to the real evidence on the ground. The evidence on the ground is we have cholera. Cholera in Zimbabwe.
Typhoid.
Typhoid in Zimbabwe.
Prehistoric diseases.
We have more NGOs in a country with less parastatals. We have a government which is going around signing billion-dollar deals, but cannot support a 16 million population. Add that in your head and tell me that makes sense. You are signing billion-dollar deals. Your population is 16 million, yet half of your population is supported by NGOs. That does not make sense, Kuda. A grade 1 student will tell you a billion-dollar deal cannot support a 16 million population. We have such a small population. These issues can be turned around.
Absolutely. And at the same time, I don't like these old politicians signing billion-dollar deals that are going to be paid back by my children without consulting me or my children. I think this is a big problem we have, that all this foreign investment people talking about in quotes is just loans that our kids are going to have to pay back. And I don't trust the guys who are taking those loans. My sister, I appreciate your input. Let me give others a chance to talk. You know you always got me. I got your back. Original Tea Party member, Marcie Wilks, everybody. Thank you very much, mommy.
Later.
Okay, that's Marcie. Taking more calls, ladies and gentlemen. Vengesai, I'm adding you. If you want to be added, please say add, and I'll add you, please, ladies and gentlemen. I'll add you. Jessica says, great theory, girl. Theory. There's a slight shade there. Anyone else wants to be added, please just say add, and I'll add you. Vengesai, tried to add you, didn't answer. Tawana, I'm going to add you just now. Hold a second. Not Benson, please. We are the Tea Party. We do not try and muzzle people here. However, Benson hasn't asked to be added, so that's fine. He's not going to be added because he doesn't want to be added, I guess. Okay, so I'm trying to add somebody there, and he doesn't want to be added. Okay. Okay, no, they're not answering. And then Benson says he wants to be added. And out of fairness, we shall do as we say. We do not discriminate here. This is the Tea Party. He's about to come on. If you don't want to hear him, you can switch off.
Hey, Kuda.
My brother, how are you, sir?
What's up, bro?
Your message yesterday was extremely was taken extremely badly by a lot of people. I think the where I agree is that was Wafa Naka, and as a man who preaches Africanism and Pan-Africanism, I think you totally fucked it out the park yesterday.
Yeah, you know, one thing I always say to a lot of Zimbabweans is I really don't care what the majority of people think, because when you're with the majority, a lot of times it means you're standing with the ignorant. I speak from a position of knowledge, so when I speak to those with knowledge. I'm not concerned about the people that don't read and people that don't understand politics and what it is that we're working towards. Tsvangirai is an African only to the extent of how much he serves the African interest. The moment you have an African that is working against African interest, a man that is being given medals by imperialists, imperial medals like the Legion of Honor that is given to military men that serve armies of the such a man is serving the interest of the real.
I mean, people like Robert Mugabe, for example, were also given these foreign military accolades. Were you as equally indignant about Robert Mugabe being a knight of the British realm, for example, or Nelson Mandela being given many? Nelson Mandela was given many, as was people like, I don't know. Go ahead.
I wrote an article in which I specified the game that Mugabe played with the British Queen. He was knighted to serve the interest of the Queen in the Kingdom of Zimbabwe. And what Robert Mugabe did in the Kingdom of Zimbabwe is he reversed the battle of what the Queen had asked him to achieve and started to achieve something totally opposite to what she wanted. She wanted him to maintain a United Kingdom protectorate that was going to continue to benefit British children, British property owners, and British capitalists in Zimbabwe in which black people were going to be slaves. Robert Mugabe educated his people. They got to a point where they could no longer be slaves. They had to be owners of factors of production. They were working towards being the controllers of that economy and therefore wanting their land. A lot of people say that Robert Mugabe didn't
the thing is, the only time that Robert Mugabe started talking about land, homie, and this is a fact, is when he was about to lose an election. You see, that guy was a coward. He brown-nosed and sucked the cocks of white people for so long until he now had to go for some politically expedient sucking the cocks of war veterans. And this is a fact, whether you and I like it or not.
That's not correct, bro. And this is why it's important for us to have discussions where people hear what they are not comfortable with, because it goes against Ngano Zavanga Vachudzwa for too long. From 1980 to 1990, ZANU-PF took 3.5 million hectares, and a man called Sam Geza was responsible for the land reform program. He gave land to 1,500 families between 1980 and 1990. That land was bought with 43 million pounds that was given by the government of the United Kingdom. When they got to 1990, he wanted to continue, Robert Mugabe wanted to continue to give land to his people. And now it was no longer willing buyer, willing seller. The moratorium had passed, and now he could take land or expropriate land. But the South African government under Oliver Tambo asked Zimbabwe to stop with the land program so that they could negotiate for the release of Nelson Mandela and also to negotiate peace with the Boers and independence. Zimbabwe agreed that in the meantime...
Okay, I think you and I agree on a lot, we disagree on a lot. What I'm going to ask for now is that we don't focus on Mugabe and these kind of sticking points, because we can go into this for quite a while. Let's try and focus on what we're talking about today. Number one, is Tsvangirai a national hero? And I think we already know your stance on that. You say he's not a national hero. Will you concede that he's a hero to some? And maybe a large amount of people in Zimbabwe, for example, maybe more so than some of the thugs that I have buried there. Number two, what do you see about the current factionalism without going too broad into the outside issues?
The issue is not measuring a hero according to personal preferences. We must take what we call the national ideology or the national interest, put that in the forefront, and measure our heroes according to what it is that the nation must achieve. So national heroes will not be determined by what we personally feel. They will be determined by the objectives they've achieved for the nation. So when we look at the objectives of the nation and what we have achieved, the giving of land, which is why we went to war, the giving of an economy to our people, educating our people, and also empowering our people to be able to have the leverage to grow their own economy. Morgan Tsvangirai did not achieve that. In fact, he sabotaged that. Part of the reason why...
What about the people like me who are battling the current system? He's the man who managed to embolden people like me. He's the man who actually proved that we can defeat the one-party state system. He is the man who actually beat ZANU-PF maybe 3 times in a row. Why are you saying to me that he's not a hero to me?
I would say, first of all, what we need to do is politically educate each other. The governance system that we've got in what we call democracy, is it a governance system in which the people really govern? And I always say that it is not a system in which the people really govern. Why do I say that? I say that because, first of all, the constitution that is given to the people is based on laws that were not made by the people. The constitution and the laws that are given to the people are based on Roman Dutch law and Western laws that are not made by the people for the people. And then the other chapter of what runs a government or what runs a nation is not the decision makers that stay in State House, but it is actually the capital that is not elected by the people that makes decisions and rules the people, when we don't realize that those are the people ruling us. Right now, Zimbabwe is miserable. Why is it miserable? It's miserable because it was excluded from the financial markets of the world. It was excluded from the banking system of the world. Those people rule.
My brother, we actually agree on some of this financial inclusion and issues that are around that. And I think I've got your point. And I would love you and I to go in this properly. I think there's a lot of people who would like to see a proper head-to-head on some real things. But I'm grateful for your input at this point. And I'm gonna move on to other people. But we over here we don't
We don't stifle people's freedom of mind, because we want to keep an open mind. And I hope people have heard what Brother Benson has said. A lot of people are very indignant. People are saying next, cut him off, and I'm like, no, we don't censor here, because a lot of times people try and censor me, and I think it's important that we listen to each other, even if we dislike the distasteful thing. So give me your last word before you go.
My point to Zimbabweans is this. The reason why we are unhappy with the politics that we have in the country is because the politics in the country is a reflection of us. It's a reflection of the level of knowledge we have. It's a reflection of the choices that we make. And a lot of the choices that we make in Zimbabwe are based on personality and not content, not principle, and not value. Later.
Not personality, not content, not value. Thank you very much, Brother Benson. You know, guys, I can tell you one thing. Benson says some repulsive things. I mean, he said some things about Ndebele women, for example, and you know that my lady happens to be from that tribe. One thing we try not to do here on the Tea Party is discriminate against people's views, which is why right now you will see there's a lot of people who support ZANU-PF, people from PDP, people from various different factions are currently watching this channel and regularly communicate as Tea Party members despite where they go. So sometimes we don't have to like each other, but let's at least be tolerant as Zimbabweans. I don't agree with his message yesterday. To me was crazy, and I went in the comments and said as such. But however, I accept the man has got what he has to say. One day I would like to totally engage with him properly on some of the issues he brought up when we actually have more researched. Because right now, if I come in there unprepared, Benson will have me for breakfast and lunch and dinner, and I don't like to be unprepared. So I want to read up on some of the things he said, and then I want to have a proper tea-time, extreme head-to-head with Benson, and we can actually try and win each other over with arguments of substance and not just personality bullshit. Anybody else who would like me to add them, please, guys, just say add, and I'll add you immediately. Then we can talk this out, and then we can go. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. We have an opportunity as a generation to keep talking and start changing our mindsets and being more tolerant. It's really important that tolerance becomes a big thing. By not talking, we cause a lot of problems, guys, as a generation. So let's keep talking. It's really important. My brother Leroy, how are you?
Yep.
Brother Leroy, how are you? I think your network is bad. Your screen is frozen. Hey, talk to me, brother. Talk. Let me hear you. Brother Leroy, his network is really bad. I could see that was going to be a problem. Let me get Russell on. He's one of the people with an avatar of Morgan Tsvangirai. So let's get him on. See, the only person I've ever blocked in my life is Albi. I had to block Albi because she's such a witch. You know, you can call me a fat cunt. You can call me anything you like in your life. But what I can't handle is witchcraft. And Albi's actually a witch. Russell, what up, man?
Anduva mshawaona.
Bove kuti, show us your six pack. What did you go?
Nduva mshawa shamari, ndikupita chi pane nyaya kuchapa.
So what is?
Like, dude, go on my Facebook page, and I've got Mugabe's picture on there, and I've got Tsvangirai's picture on there. Okay, like, the thing that people are missing is that we are Zimbabweans. Okay, forget the politics. Okay,
right. We
support Zimbabwe. We are Zimbabweans. No one can ever take that away from us. So this whole thing, like, you know, this whole cross-party feud and in-party fighting, what are we going to do that is right for Zimbabwe?
Well, right now, Zimbabwe needs an effective opposition that can...
An effective opposition is there in the terms of MDC.
No, we don't have an effective one. We have a lot of different 89 opposition parties. But what we need is an effective opposition that can hold our government to account and protect. No,
what you like. That's the thing about you guys. Like when you say an effective opposition, it almost seems like you mean like an opposition that can topple ZANU-PF off.
No. See, I'm not about that. I'm not about toppling anybody. I just like the systems I grew up around. I grew up in Australia. I grew up in England. I've been in the States.
Well, same here though. You know what I mean?
So I like the fact that Tony Blair could do a lot of things. He had a big majority, but he always had the Tories to say, fuck, stop. argue, and then they'll go into parliament and they'll try and fight for common sense. They try to stop the war. They try to, back and forth, Brexit or not Brexit. There's a lot of, an effective opposition gives you an opportunity as a population to have a voice in parliament. What we have right now is we have incoherent opposition and a very, very disciplined ruling party. Sorry, my brother. Wadzanai here is talking about accent. Wadzanai, Zimbabweans live all over the world. We're raised on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and fucking Dallas, and we live in England and Australia. So there's no such thing as a Zimbabwean accent.
That's the sad thing, those are the trivial things. The trivial things that Zimbabwean people, look to. You know what I mean? Accent and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Instead of looking at the content of what we're saying and the content, it's stupid.
So I'm gonna point you to the conversation today. Is Morgan Tsvangirai a national hero or not?
Tsvangirai is a national hero. Like I wrote down on your post, a national hero is someone who lives in the people's psyche, the people's conscience. And we're the people. And we have decided that Tsvangirai, and the majority of Zimbabweans have actually decided, we all feel that Tsvangirai is a national hero. The fact that he did not fight the liberation war does not mean he's not a hero. But he was fighting a war for us as well. He's a national hero. And he doesn't have to be buried at Heroes Acre. Because that Heroes Acre is become, in a way, a banal shrine.
A den of thieves. My brother Russell, thank you very much for
but thanks, so
thank you very much, my brother. Tawanda, I'm trying to add you, but you don't have an icon next to your phone. Let me add a lady. Rudo's on the phone. Let's see if Rudo can give us some other perspectives. I'll take 2 more calls, ladies and gentlemen, and then we can call this a wrap. We've had a long, good discussion today. It's been very important that we keep talking. We've had some people who disagree with, people we agree with. We are a generation that needs to start talking and being tolerant. All we're talking about here today is Morgan Tsvangirai a national hero? What makes someone a national hero? Are we happy with the situation that's happening currently in our biggest opposition party? And do we have an effective opposition in our country right now? Okay, Rudo asked to come on, and then she declined. Okay, I'm going to add another brother. I'm trying to look at the different names and trying to get diversity, different tribes and such. My brother here has got a name I can't pronounce, so I thought it would be cool. Okay, people, I'm trying to add you, but you're not answering. All right, look, let's finalize. Try to add a few guys. It looks like no one is answering their calls anymore. I'm gonna try and get Tawanda on. He's the last person who's asked. His phone is not going through. Cancel requests. We'll try and add Rudo one more time, and then we can go. Add Chef Bay. Chef Bay is feeling a bit nauseous right now. I'm adding Rudo right now. Rudo is connecting. Rudo, how are you?
Hey, Kuda. Can you hear
me?
Talk
to us, Rudo. We can hear you loud and clear. Talk to us. What's up?
Yeah, my network is really bad because I'm at the farm right now. Yeah, Morgan Tsvangirai, like I was about to just type there, he is definitely a national hero. He needs to be buried with Heroes Acre, and he paved the way for young people to be able to stand up, and believe that they can actually make a difference in the country. He is actually the only first person, that I've actually seen.
We can hear you. Keep talking. Oh, shame, we've lost her. I mean, we heard her point. Trevor, you're probably right. But anyway, thank you everybody for joining me. It's been good to talk. We'll see how this plays out. I hope, for the sake of Tsvangirai's legacy, that the funeral goes without a glitch. I hope that there's no more shenanigans and grandstanding. I know that one section of the party with Kupe and Muzuri are actually with the family now trying to repatriate the body to Zimbabwe. I know that on the other side we've got you know, the new president, acting president Chamisa, and he's got a team around him, and they are looking at how do we win the next election from the junta. And I think everybody now needs to be saying, how do we get this Gambaredu into the ground as soon as possible, with as much dignity as possible as Africans, and how do we move forward as a generation now that we have now that we have this opportunity for a generational mandate of new candidates to fight in an election. It'll be really good for the first time in Zimbabwe to have different names on the ballot box that are not Robert Mugabe or Morgan Tsvangirai. So this is where we are. We talked about the 12-month thing. Rewind the video. There's a bunch that we talked about before. Thank you very much. Let's keep talking. Let's keep questioning everything, because we are the Tea Party, and we question everything. We question it all. Someone's talking about Buju. Yeah, Buju. Yeah, probably. Who else? And Nancy. Yep, you guys are great mathematicians. You're great mathematicians. We are the Tea Party. Expect us. Huh?